Hey guys, so this is just a quick video on how to write not just a good thesis statement, but a great one. So how do we do that? First of all, you've got to figure out what you want to say. You do that by reading and annotating closely, looking at the passages. Seeing the passages is what helps you figure out what you want to say. And you want to find an idea to call your own, obviously, which isn't always so easy. It needs to be arguable, meaning not obvious. So here's an example of a bad thesis statement. Okay, and the reason it's bad is because, number one, it's not arguable. Everybody knows this about the book. The other reason it's bad is that it's just a summary of the story. So how do we write a good one? The best place to start is, like we were talking about earlier, with the passages themselves. So find a few key passages from the text that you think are interesting. Reread them. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to, on a piece of paper, jot down 6 to 8 words that the passages make you think about. So let's read this passage together. You probably recognize this from To Kill a Mockingbird. This is Atticus talking to his son. So let's read, and Atticus is a lawyer in town. And let's read the next passage. And this is Atticus again speaking with his children. So let's go back and look at this passage again. And then this is Atticus later. All right, so if we think about the words that come to mind, and the words that come to mind for you will be different than the ones that come to mind for me. But these are the ones that came to mind for me. So the next thing we want to think about is like what patterns do we see in these words? Let's see what they might be about. So when I'm looking at them, to me, obviously, we want to look at which ones are positive and which ones are negative. So violence stands out to me. And if I look at these other words in relation to them, the only other one that seems like it might be connected to is this one here for me. Maybe different for you depending on your words. So looking for patterns again. Yeah, these to me remind me of law, the legal system. These two feel like they're, for me, related regarding metaphorically, they mean something. Birds making music. And then that leaves these two, courage and compassion, seem to go together as well. Whoops. So if I look at that, I see 4 different sorts of patterns here. And one I see the violent sin is about human behavior, moral choices that are sort of the opposite of courage and compassion. So violence and sin as the negative moral choices, and courage and compassion as positive moral choices. And then we see justice, defeat. To me, they sound like legal terms. And then birds and music, which to me is metaphoric. So that's what I have so far. So I need to figure out how to turn those relationships into a working thesis. statement. So I'm going to take a chance at it, and let's see what I come up with here. These words are related through the use of metaphor, the birds and the music, to reveal moral and legal challenges. Okay, that's what I've got so far. So you can probably tell this is not a full thesis statement, but it's moving me in the right direction. So let's think about it on a more deep level. It's going to add the title and author in To Kill a Mockingbird. Harper Lee uses the metaphor of birds to convey the realistic but inextinguishable moral strength of Atticus Finch. Realistic meaning, I brought that back to like the idea of defeat. You know, when a man is licked and he still goes after something, that's when you know he's really showing courage. So convey the realistic but inextinguishable moral strength of Atticus Finch. Still not complete, but getting there. So I'm going to check this thesis statement now against the rocket ship model to ensure I have all the components that I need. So the rocket ship model, I have to start with a claim, an insightful argument here. What's my argument? What's the main point I'm making? And then I'm going to, in my thesis statement, focus on one key point from the passage, the first passage, and another key point from the second passage. So let's see how I do with this one. Through the use of bird metaphors, Harper Lee conveys Atticus's inextinguishable moral strength. That sounds like my claim, right? That I'm making this part through here is my claim going around this way. Okay, first part. All right, and then how is Harper Lee doing this? Through his lifelong commitment to defending the vulnerable. I'm going to use passage 1 for that. In spite of slim chances of succeeding, and I'm going to use passage 2 for that. So if I go back and look at the passages, I should be able to see how I can prove his lifelong commitment to defending the vulnerable in spite of slim chances to succeeding. You can go back and look at those passages on your own. All right, and to move this clunky, because I do still feel like this is a fairly clunky thesis statement. It's okay, it's better, but it's still not great. If I want to move it from good to great, I highly recommend you watch this video by Jenny Sawyer, because she goes through basically how to take a clunky thesis and find some better words. I'm not going to go through it with you right now because you can watch it on your own. Anyway, I hope that helps.